Today on the John Mayaki Show, we're going to be having a very serious topical discussion with one of those persons you need to listen to. You always enjoy him. On the John Mayaki Show today, we're going to have Prince Kassim Afegbua. Don't forget, he was former commissioner in Edo State, Commissioner for Information. He resigned from the PDP recently as a PDP member. You need to tell us today that you take decisions politically. How do you align? The other time you were in PDP, now you are in APC. Have you joined any other political party? Prince Kassim Afegbua.
I haven't joined any political party. I am partyless.
Oh.
I want to have a breather so that I can take some kind of introspective analysis of the prevailing political scenario and be able to take an informed decision because I'm often driven by my convictions. But my resignation was long in coming from the PDP because I had said, I believe that PDP should respect the provision of this constitution with respect to zoning of positions. But when this new leadership of PDP came on board, we thought they were serious. We never knew that they would behave like their predecessor.
You fought that person. You fought that executive.
Of course, because you see, as an opposition party, you must deliberately live above board.
Yeah.
I use the word deliberately so that you can live as a role model to people. If I'm condemning a government in place of lethargy, I should not be seen to be committing lethargic offense.
Within your party?
Within my party.
Yeah.
If you are condemning people of immorality, you shouldn't be seen to be practicing immorality. So there won't be any basis for that. So whether persons or institutions, I like to psychoanalyze and be able to take a position that you can't fault, both on point of logic, common sense, and knowledge. So the IU-led PDP executive is neither here nor there. They were working from answer to question, plotting graphs to ensure that an Atiku Abubakar emerged as candidate of the PDP. And my position is very clear. And that position was well captured by northern governors of APC. Until today, they remain heroes of this present dispensation because they took a decision when their own party chairman was trying to derail. They said no. They needed to balance power and the algorithms of political equation. So they said, in order to deepen democracy and eliminate a seeming mistrust that is now becoming over between the north and the southern part of the country, it was natural and it should be a natural sequence for the southern part of the country to present a candidate. So they supported Tinubu, and Tinubu emerged, even though the party chairman was waiting for an Ahmed Lawan and what have you. For plural society, and Nigeria is one of those fundamental countries with plurality that you can't define, about 470 ethnic stock. In fact, at times you even lose count. They say 450, they say 470.
470.
But we are disparate. So in those kind of situations, you must balance, the political equation. And so when they insisted on that, I said, I will not campaign for Atiku Abubakar as a candidate. Because in 2019, all big southern aspirants pull out of the race and allow the northern.
Will you regret working against the Uche Secondo's executive? Will you regret now, assuming because IU is now working?
No regrets,
okay.
Because they are birds of the same feather. There's no regrets. During Uche Secondo's time, Wadata Plaza became, they call him Casino de Wadata. They turned it to a cash cow. This was now called cash and carry de Wadata. So they are the same, they are birds of the same feather. There's no honesty of purpose, too much of subterfuge, gerrymandering, manipulation, deliberate abuse of processes, no respect for court ruling, contempt of court here and there, provision, verdicts of course, pronouncement of course are not respected because they are working to a predetermined end. And you see the whole thing playing out.
But intrigue, subterfuge, and maneuvering, the remand, they are the game. That is the game of politics.
You see, they are the game of politics for the general mind, not for the specific mind of a Kassim Afegbua. I would not. You know, I am not one of those people who will stab a friend at the back and I will call it politics. I will not be one of those persons who will betray and I will call it politics. No. If I can't give you my word, then there is no basis.
Even outside politics, people betray. Even outside politics.
Yeah, but because politics is so important because it's a leadership recruitment process. And you are going to be presiding over people that are not within your family company.
Yeah.
You are going to be deciding the fate of senators, of your constituency. If you are a senator, you are going to be making laws for the good governance of the country or for your community or for your state. You are a president, you are going to be presiding over the collective patrimony of the country, the collective aspiration, the aggregate interest, all the centripetal and the centrifugal forces. You are going to combine all of that to strike a leadership balance, to assure the feelings of the people. So, political parties are very important in the life of a democracy. Very important. They are as important as the leadership that comes out of them.
Yeah.
So when people just sit back and just pull out of political party and allow some nitwits and some nincompoops to decide their fate in the name of, oh, I don't want to play politics, it's dirty. Then the dirty people will play politics and throw up dirty leadership that will preside over your future, your present and your future, and the future of our children. And so that's why for me, I will always interrogate processes. I would like to interrogate scenarios. I don't want to swallow decisions hook, line, and sinker. I want to ask questions. I want to find out why have you done this? Why was it that? Is it viable? Is it okay? That was what informed my position, and I said it from the one. If this leadership comes on stream, I'm going to take a walk. I will support any party that has southern candidates, and at least we have 3, 4, 5 southern candidates in different parties. So we have SDP, we have ADC, we have Labour, we have APC.
In deciding which party or in deciding your political decisions, in taking political decisions, what factors do you put in place? The other time you supported an APC candidate in Edo State in the 2020 election, and you were right there in PDP, and some other just now again, you are going to be supporting an APC presidential.
See, it is still the same factor.
Yeah.
The party under which is second
just
woke up one morning when we had closed nominations. They are finished selling of forms. They are finished screening. Our convention was just barely 7 days away. I had mobilized my team from here in Abuja to Benin by road. I was going to spend 7 days to participate in the party primaries. In PDP. All of a sudden, they just say, boom, an APC aspirant has just come in, who is the present governor. Without even consulting us in Edo State, they took decisions at the national headquarters, and they were flying him all over the place, meeting this, meeting that, which led to the statement made by Wiki that they were tax collectors. You remember?
Yes.
Now, I am of the opinion that as a member of a party or of an association, I deserve and I reserve the right to be told the reason why certain decisions have been taken, why you are breaking your own rules, your guidelines, and your constitution. I need to be convinced because democracy is a serious indulgence. It's a cultivated indulgence because there's respect for rules and regulations. And what thickens democracy is because it panders to rules and regulations, it panders to rule of law. A constitutional democracy is one that guarantees equitability for members and for stakeholders. And in that process, you'll be able to take collective decisions that will be for the well-being of every member. In the case of Edo, they took a decision without consulting us. Even if I'm entitled to one vote, I want that one vote to be properly allocated to the person who deserves that vote. So in protest against that decision of the national office, without consulting with a lot of us in the state, I took that my stand, and I predicted that the Obaseki candidature was not what PDP needed, because PDP had always been a strong party in the state. They had 4 rep members out of 9. They had 2 senators out of 3. So it's a strong party. You can't say that he's not having an opportunity to become #1 in the state. So, but the so-called owners of the party, captured in the leadership as it were there, felt otherwise. Oh, this is a governor coming, and he has resources of the state to spend to become another governor. We need a governor from this state, blah, blah, and all that. You see, you can be a governor. If you're not a meaningful governor, you'll be meaningless to the people, which is what Governor Obaseki has been now. You see, the fight in PDP in Edo is still on. Candidates of the party for different positions, Senate, House of Assembly, House of Reps, are still yet unknown as we speak. Of course, there are verdicts of courts that they should be those that were produced by Dan Obi, which follow the procedure of the prison. There are still court, disputations over that. There are still litigations going on. So, when you don't elect to speak truth to power, then you run into crisis. That's why my positions on issues might appear seemingly unpopular, but they graduate my inner conscience. I get some level of satisfaction because I've purged myself of the excesses of what others are doing. I don't want to be one of them all. I want to cultivate my own path such that I respect my own trajectory, because it is going to be my history, not your history, John. Not anybody else's history. It's going to be Kassim Afegbua's history. So I want to be judged by what I do, and my decisions have to be informed by my own personal convictions. You see, they say when conscienceless power confronts powerless conscience, the latter or the former last first, the latter last last.
Yes.
So those who think they control the levers of power, they can decide your fate today, but in the final analysis, time as a healer of wounds will come out to expose their inadequacies, which is what is happening today. Those who insulted me so vehemently in 2020 for taking that position, oh, we defeated him, this, that. They didn't know that I got a satisfaction by ensuring my community listened to my voice, and they voted for the APC. So today, they are the same people who are using the same mouth they used to insult me to praise me and commend me that I'm sort of becoming a soothsayer. I saw the future which they were not seeing. It's the same position I took in 2016 when I was in government.
Where does ideology come in here?
Well, individuals have different way of interpreting ideology. My kind of politics is such that is driven by my own convictions. People say, oh, party loyalty. You can only be loyal to a party that is fair, just, and equitable. Even in contemporary developmental discourse, when you are developing a community or you are trying to reform a system, researchers have gone further to ask questions. It's not just about reformation, just reforming a system. They will ask you, how equitable are those reforms? Are you favoring one side against the other so much? Are you skewed in your political choices? Are you balancing the factors?
In terms of balancing again, you mentioned the North president now, you want a Southern presidency. People are also saying that the APC that you are going to be supporting now have not also balanced the issue of Muslim-Christian ticket.
You see, I'm blinded to religion when it comes to my politics. Because in my family, we have Christians, we have Muslims. We eat right in the same plate. Only the political elites want to play on those factors just to achieve their own selfish ends. The commoners like us, the ordinary people like us, we see ourselves as part and parcel of the process. In my family, Afegbua family, we are over 3,000. That's the truth, because Afegbua himself married about 54 wives, gave birth to about 300 children. And so we are in the 7th generation of Afegbua. We have our records. We have about 5 polling units in our community in Okola, where Afegbua resides. That's to tell you our population. Now, before, they used to be so fanatical about religion. You have to be a Muslim. I was brought up to become a Muslim, not by my own design, by the design of my parents. No right of choice. Having grown up, if I find that the religion was not suitable to my own whims and caprices, I could have just joined any other religion. So also others. There are some of my cousins who are now Christians. Before, we don't used to accept them. But these days, we are saying, well, we want to pray in our palace. A Christian will pray, a Muslim will pray, because we are part and parcel. We are bought into ourselves.
Why didn't you just allow the Muslim to pray and go ahead? It's prayer. Prayer is prayer.
It doesn't matter, because you see, as I'm telling you, the sentiments that people are bringing up in religion is becoming so fundamental. So the buy-in here is that in politics, you cannot isolate religion. I know that. You can't even separate it now, because Nigeria has become so endemically polarized.
Yes.
That we now speak from the point of view of religious bigotry, ethnic chauvinism, rather than developmental initiatives that can put pay to all the cries of marginalization, poverty, hunger, impoverishment that dominate the land. You see, hunger is no respecter of persons.
No.
Hunger does not know religion.
No.
Poverty does not know religion. Suffering does not know religion. When it is convenient for the political elite to exploit situations and scenarios, interrupt issues of religion. And I said, okay, a man has chosen Muslim. That's the executive arm of government. If you want to balance the equation, you come to the legislature. It's another arm of government. You can give that to the Christians if you so much believe in religion.
Well, people say it's all about interest, and so if you have interest, who protects the interest of the Christians? Yeah.
Are you saying that a president who is of Muslim extraction preside only the Muslims in the country?
No.
He presides over everybody. And you see, we are also making a very big mistake. We are also thinking that Nigeria is just populated by 2 religions. It is not true. We have a lot of traditionalists. We have a lot of Olokun worshippers. We have a lot of Sango worshippers. We have a lot of Ogun worshippers. And they are entitled to the same recognition you have called any other religion. These 2 you have said, they are just foreign religion to us. These are our own traditional religions that are known to us. But we have put them at the background by the same sentiments of globalization. What appeals to you, how I get judgment when I'm faced with scenario, depends on how I communicate with a supreme being that exists somewhere. If you are deep in spirituality, you are likely to see things beyond the physical. You go to metaphysical. Fine. But there are people who don't even believe that God exists. Yeah. So in the global world, there's Judaism, Buddhism, all manners of religion. So there are atheists, people who don't believe that God exists, but they believe that nature has an essence. So when you want to balance equations, you want to see, if a party chooses people from a particular religion, for president, number 2, number 3, number 4 can go to Christianity or traditional religion. The judiciary is there. We have 3 arms of government.
Is that so?
We are getting blinded by the fact that presidency is just the ultimate. No. Every of the arm of government has its fundamental role to play to balance the wheel of progress. The judiciary plays its role for interpreting laws and making very pronounced.
But they seem subservient to the executive.
Well, that is a misnomer born out of the scenario we find ourselves. In Nigeria, the president of Nigeria is the strongest and most powerful man on earth.
Yeah.
Different from other democracies.
Yeah.
That is a problem of our culture and the lame-duck attitude of the citizenry.
Yes.
Who cannot challenge the status quo.
Yes.
And so when they see people like us who are disruptors of the process, they call us names, they abuse us. But it won't stop me from interrogating the process. President Buhari will appoint an IG of police. An IG of police, rather than defer to Nigerians and the Constitution, which gives him the enablement to be so recognized. He would rather prefer to defer to the whims and the body language of the president that he feels appointed him.
But should the president appoint the IG or INEC press chairman?
No, you see, that's the system we are operating. But I'm saying that the fact that he appoints them should not mean that they should be kowtowing to his whims and caprices.
Okay.
No. I've watched films of systems. I have undergone training in the US. I've gone to the Capitol where you see separation of powers and how government accountability office in America, Washington DC, how they take up the executive. That was a setup by the legislature to checkmate the fiscal discipline of American presidency. So they look at the country as in the bigger picture. They don't look at the person of the office of the president. They look at the interest of the country and the decisions you are taking. But over here, we look at the person rather than looking at the country. So that's the problem. Oh, we have not heard what President Buhari will say. Instead of saying, what is the Constitution saying?
What are the people thinking?
What are the people thinking? Nobody is ready to do that over here. But in other civilized democracy, we should form a basis for us to imitate. We dwell so much of inanities, frivolities, nebulous posturings that will not add value to the commonality of our existence. So, the moment you start bringing religion to it, then you must spread the tentacles to include other traditional religions. Ogun worshippers, Shango worshippers, Olokun worshippers. There are other different religions, traditionalists and all of that. So that their interest to be captured. Because the silent majority, because they are not talking, they are arrogated to them minority. You'll be shocked that even those who don't practice Islam and Christian might even be more in our population. You'll be shocked if you carry out a demographic study. So for me, with the current APC scenario, the man Tinubu was thinking and is thinking as a typical politician who wants to win votes.
How will you describe that ticket?
You see,
the Tinubu Shettima ticket, how do you describe it?
Like I said, the man wants to win votes.
Yes.
He needs votes. In the north, among the northern governors, for example, only one is a Christian. Lalong of Plateau State. If they were to sit down as governors to vote, he would not get the votes.
All the governors, there, you see, the governors forum, they will team up and support him.
No, I'm telling you, you see, his politics is not about sentiment, it's about sentiment.
That is
I'm just telling you that if you are talking about the north, even Christians in the north know that they are a minority. Let us face facts. And the fact that somebody is Muslim does not mean that all Muslims will vote for Muslim.
You're right.
The fact that if you are Muslim Christian does not mean that all Christians will vote for all Christian tickets. But as a political strategist, you are going to look at the scenario that favors you more. If 65% of the population in the north are Muslim by visible demography, as a political strategist or a planner, I won't go to take a candidate from the minority. I won't. 35%? No, I won't. Because I'm already digging my downfall. Because everything about politics is about votes. You get? If you get votes and you are elected, that is where you can put into practice the beauty you have in your manifesto.
Yeah.
If you don't win the election, you become a perennial aspirant or candidate, like the candidate of the PDP. Those are perennial contestants. Every now and then, for 30 years, Atiku has been looking for presidency. So the point is, you need to tap into scenarios that will favor you more in getting votes, so that what you think you have in yourself in terms of leadership qualities and potential, you can put into practice. It's like a scenario of they say, big man they talk, poor man say him get idea. You get idea, now you become poor man. What can translate your ideas into practice? The big man has put it as ideas to practice to elevate himself. And just like Abraham Lincoln said, you can't kill an employer because you want to help the plight of the employee.
A sitting governor would have make a better, win more vote among the governors in the north. A sitting governor instead of Shettima. I ask you, how will you describe the Shettima ticket?
Which of the sitting governor? You see, let us be fair.
Yeah.
Fair is fair.
Yeah.
Northwest zone has more governors in the north and northeast zone. Now, within the northwest zone, all of them are Muslims. So if anyone we are taking should be a Muslim ticket. That's one. Two, you had Enamadi Sambo, Vice President from Kaduna State. You had Yaradua, 3 years President from Katsina. You had Buhari, President 7 years, will be 8 years next year, from Katsina.
That's
Northwest.
Northwest.
So it's only natural, using the same doctrine of equity, justice and fairness, to look at Northeast and even try to challenge the status quo as represented in Atiku.
Yes, in Northeast.
So that we will not have a free ride. It's the kind of PDP. So choosing somebody from his backyard can help neutralize his votes. Then you take Northwest as battleground. These are simple, logical, political arithmetics and considerations that you have to put in mind when you are choosing a candidate. And Shettima, for me, having been a governor for 2 terms, 8 years, having been a senator now, understand the political dynamics in the country. He's not a religious fanatic. He's not a mullah. He relates with people very well. He interacts. He has worked in the banking sector, home and abroad. So he understands the work ethics of an environment. At any rate, he's the vice president. He's not the president. He's a vice presidential candidate. So a vice presidential candidate is as important and relevant as the president makes him to be. And I ask the same simple question. We have Professor Yemi Osinbajo as vice president. What has he brought to the table in the last 7 years? Has he been vice president for Christians? No. He has been vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Good.
Does he take decisions that will impact on Christians alone?
No. Yeah.
He takes decisions that will cover the interests of the overwhelming majority of Nigerians. So, when people keep talking about this thing, it's just an elite strategy to divide us. What unites us is poverty. What unites us is hunger. What unites us is underdevelopment. What unites us is insecurity.
Yeah.
When they want to strike, they don't look at whether you are Christian or Muslim. Mosques have been bombed in the north. The people they kidnap in the train attack, they are predominantly Muslims. The ones that are using, they are all Muslims. So kidnapping does not know the face of religion. And banditry and all of that. It's only when they want to play up certain settlements to cause ripples, they go to church and throw a bomb and all of that. So we are all victims of a bad situation in the country that has crippled our sense of fairness, justice, and equity. So, I want to see leadership credentials based on capacity and ability to get solutions to our problems, other than being detained by religion, which, according to Hegel, is the opium of the masses. Now, because it's the opium of the masses, those elites who are the power players, they want to play on the sentiment. And look at this contradiction, or let me say, is it an irony? A lot of people are complaining that they don't want APC. Isn't it? Quite a number of people. That because President Buhari has underdeveloped the country the more. Even the man himself has declared, admittedly, that he wants to quickly go to Daura.
Not that he has not performed.
No, that he wants to quickly go to Daura.
Yes.
That he's tired.
Yes.
That Nigeria is tough.
Yes.
Isn't he?
Yes.
But when he was lobbying to become president and campaigning and all of that, he thought it was going to be an El Dorado. 7 years on, he too has joined the lamentation. So, in our new thinking, rather than being detained by religious bigotry, religious inclinations, because of our secular nature and all of that, I want us to be detained by capacity and ability to deliver the expectations of the people. How do we cure the over 100 million Nigerians that are living under poverty line? How do we cure insecurity? What's the blueprint of the man who is coming to contest for president? What are they telling us? How do they want to rein in the bandits, the kidnappers? How? Only 2 days ago, we heard that the kidnappers of the Kaduna train attack are requesting for 4.3 billion ransom to be paid. Damn it! As a government, are you going to sit down and be watching? Government is the only institution all over the world that has capacity to commit violence and go scot-free. That's why you see Russia and Ukraine war, they are just doing things and nobody seems to be, they are worried, but what can you do? So in a country where you have different cells, bandit cells, kidnapper cells and all of that, and those who have gone there and come back have told us that these people live in colonies. These colonies are known. What has government done? So you need leadership that has a strong political will.
Do you see Tinubu being able to take such decisions, difficult decisions?
He has just taken one.
Which one is that?
The Muslim ticket. On a good day, if you are not a man driven by your own convictions and strong political will, you will pander to taking the Christians from the north.
How do you think he will get the votes of the Christians from the north?
I want to align myself with Father Kuka, who says that the fact that it's a Christian does not mean that Christians will vote for the person. And the fact that it's a Muslim does not mean that all Muslims will vote for the person. You have just been presented with choices. And that's the beauty of democracy. Among all the candidates, people are going to vote differently. At the end of the day, INEC, through its beavers, will count the votes. What does democracy say? Majority carries the day. If you win by 1%, one vote, you become the victor. Once you meet the constitutional requirement of 25% in 2/3 of the states, you become president. And you see, the tyranny of the majority is so fundamental. It's just 2%. 49% is a minority in a democracy. 49. You know how loud that will be there to make noise? 51% is a majority. That's the tyranny of the majority in a democracy. Just 2% ratio makes all the difference. So, what should balance us is for us to look inwards and begin to look at the candidates of these parties and see which one can actually provide leadership roadmap that will take us away from what we presently see. We are facing an existential threat to our national unity, national foundation, nationality as a country, and from north to south, southeast to west, we are an endangered species. Anybody who tells you that Nigeria is not sitting on a keg of gunpowder does not understand the issues. And the issues have been further polarized by the inaction of the present situation and the present leadership. And for a country as disparate as Nigeria, you need valiant points. You need people who can interrogate. You need people who can dialogue. You need people who can raise questions, collectively bargain, constructively engage. You need to interact. You need to dialogue. If dialogue, amnesty, or anything will solve a problem of allowing people to go to pursue their legitimate interest along the roads and the roads are safe, please do it. But do you have the political way to do it? Let us see. But when you begin to dress, problems, we are window dressing them because you don't want to hurt certain persons. No.
But you are not close to Tinubu camp. You are not close to the APC candidate. And the question I want to ask is, what are apart from North South, you are happy it is now in the South?
Yeah, we're happy to
apart from the distribution, the equity you are looking for, the fairness you are looking for, what are the selling points of the Tinubu candidacy?
Well,
you are going to be selling. You want to sell him.
You see, Tinubu. Let me tell you, Asiwaju Tinubu. Before now, I haven't been his fan.
Yes.
But there are things you can't take away from him. One, he has the capacity to assemble a strong team to deliver on political problems and render leadership where it is needed. Post Tinubu Lagos is cheering news. You may not agree, but I lived in Lagos virtually all my life before I moved into Abuja 20 years ago. So better part of my life I lived in Lagos. I know what Lagos was pre-1999. Post 2007 when he left, I know what Lagos was. And he has succeeded in thorough leadership. And I've seen things that have been done. Now, not just that, the quality of minds that he assembles. He took his influence beyond Lagos to Osun, Ondo, Ogun, all of that. You can't fault him. Even when it became so difficult to manage, Obasanjo tried to railroad the entire Southwest. Only Lagos State under Tinubu was unconquered. The other 5 states, buckled under the influence of Obasanjo and Obasanjo's style of dictatorial democratic parties. So, you can say that he has what it takes. He has a strong political will. He's a brilliant man, very articulate. He understands the issues. He understands the country. He has built a network of influence across the country. Don't also forget that he shares his matrimonial bed with Quran and Bible.
And they don't fight.
The wife is a Christian, a pastor. And they lived together for years. That means he's liberal-minded. He's sensitive to people's faiths. It's a personal thing. So, it's like, I want to give you a scenario. When I was looking to marry in year 2000, to get a wife for myself, I said, let me go to meet the parents of a lady I had dated for 7 years. A Christian lady. I went to meet the family, the father and mother. They sat down. They put me under the plague light, so to speak. I said, you need to interrogate me. Why do you want our daughter? And I said, well, we have been friends for 7 years. I think it's just natural that I marry her. So I can fulfill my love notes. Those ones I was saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. Let me put it into practice. I want to marry you now. The man asked me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Edo State. What's your name? I said, Kassim Afegbua is my name. So you're a Muslim? I said, yes, sir. From the popular Afegbua family, Afegbua. He said, oh, I won't allow my daughter to marry a Muslim. I said, why, sir? He said, no, my first daughter married a Muslim, and before long, the marriage packed up. The man went to marry another wife. I said, well, that's individual differences. I'm an advocate of one man, one wife. Because I'm a product of polygamy. I wouldn't want to do what my dad did. So I want to be one man, one wife. said, no, you won't do that. I said, sir, it is not our faith that will determine the success of our marriage. It is the love, it is our tolerance, our understanding, and our fear of God that will dictate the trajectory in our marital life. I say Christian marriages collapse.
They do.
Muslim marriages collapse.
Yeah.
Christian Muslim marriages collapse. Traditionalists and any other marriage may collapse. But what sustains marriage and relationship is for you to know when to apply break, because no one in any matrimony can claim all his full matrimonial rights. And that gave an analogy, you know, because I was a young man who was eager to marry my heartthrob, so to speak. I said, sir, marriage is like the driver and the traffic light. He was looking at me with, you know, very elicited attention. I said, the traffic light has green, which gives you right of way, amber, which tells you to slow down, and red, which tells you to stop. Now, if you get to a road junction, maybe cross junction and all that, there's traffic light this way, there's that way, there's this way, and all that. And your traffic light says, stop, you stopped. Now, after 2 minutes, it shows you amber, then it shows you green, move. And you're about to move, and somebody is trying to beat traffic light from the other end, and it's coming with speed. So would you say because it has shown you green, you put your head?
No.
You will apply brake, so that madman coming from this side can have his right of way. Because if you don't, if there's head-on collision or there's an accident, both of you may not live to tell the story. One person may be dead, one may be alive, but the story will have been different. But if you have applied your brake in not claiming your right, which has shown you green, there will be sanity. That is the same thing with marriage. If you want to claim all your matrimonial rights, oh, it's my right, it's my right, you won't live to enjoy that marriage. The marriage will crumble. So marriages are anchored on that. It's not religion. So religion doesn't determine the success of any system. We pray more in this country than any country I know of in the world. And I'm not saying the people say, if not for the prayers, this would have been worse. Then that means we must have been the condemned part of earth. You know, and another thing, God will be that wicked to us. Those who pray very little achieve better in other climes. We will spend all the hours in churches and mosques, in traditional homes and all of that. We don't see there's an erosion of morality in the society. The moral fiber of the society has been crumbled. There's so much of immorality, so much of noble things that are happening in the country, that in the society, that you begin to wonder. But yet we call God every day as if God is going to come down from heaven to do things for us. God is going to use men and women, young and old, to help provide solutions to problems confronting us as a country. That's why a political leadership of any country is very important. You must have that strong political will. Tinubu has just demonstrated that by his choice. That's a strong political will. And if he becomes the president of the country, I know that he's going to assemble solid brains from across the country. And he's going to take far-reaching decisions that we need to disentangle the country from this level of federalist status that is not helping us anywhere. We need to devote power to certain parts of the country and all of that. So, for me, I want to see candidates coming up with problem-solving manifesto. Not bogus manifesto, you call somebody a unifier. Unifiers that can't even unite their homes. I don't want that kind of manifesto. I want manifesto that I can speak to, that will tell me that if ABC is invested in ABC sector, this is the result we're going to get in 3 years, in 4 years, and 5 years. What are the quick wins? What are the short-term solutions? What are the long-term rewards? How do we confront banditry? Do we take up a holistic approach and begin to bombard everywhere so that we sit down on the table to discuss? Or do we continue to take this weakness position and allow the bandits to take the position of strength? So there are a lot of things. So the quality of leadership would dictate the quality of his ideas.
Don't forget that apart from the APC, there is the PDP.
Yeah.
And there is the supposed third force in Labour Party. Now people say Obi is everywhere. Everywhere you go is Obi, Obi, Obi. And some other person say, oh, it only exists on social media. But it seems there is a coalition of forces, including Patutomi and some other eggheads who want to upstage the political system. Don't you see Obi as a threat?
Let me cut you short. A Peter Obi for 2023 is too sudden. A Peter Obi for 2027, through sustained participation and recognition, will make a better impact.
Whichever party,
but not for 2023. The Labour Party, as it is now, does not have candidates in all the positions: House of Assembly, House of Reps, Senate. They don't have, even governors. Because while those positions are important, Obi cannot be everywhere all the time. Members of your party who are running for positions will be campaigning for the party in their different localities because they have candidates representing the party.
They say they have labor, union, Norge.
Listen, you say what is the population of Norge? Yeah. Forget
they are workers. I mean, Labour Party workers. NLC.
What is the population of Nigerian NLC?
Road transport workers. They are part of Labour Party.
What is the population?
They are the people. They are the masses.
No. Let me tell you, people make their political choices based on experience. Who have they experienced?
We have experienced APC and PDP.
No. Listen, what I mean.
Yes.
John Mayaki.
Yes.
If you go to your political world and you now reduce it to your political unit, once you get there, people will recognize you.
Yeah.
They recognize your father.
Yeah.
They know who your father is.
Yeah.
An outsider cannot come and want to torpedo you in your political unit.
No.
It's not possible. Because what? They have experienced you.
Mm-hmm.
The people have known you.
Mm-hmm.
Over times, you have been going home, you give handouts, you take their child to school, you pay school fees, you do this, you do that. They will not overnight turn and support Obi if you are not supporting Obi. Because after Obi has gone, who remains? You.
I agree with you.
You are the person who remains with them. So it is not as easy as people are saying it. The rail is interesting to make the bigger parties wake up. But for you to say Obi will just go and just hijack the process, no, it won't work.
People say Obi is a movement. That what you saw in NSAS is going to be like what everywhere across the country. People want to. There's going to be a change. People want to test Labour Party. People want to test Obi. People want to say APC, PDP. No, we want a different thing, and that the dissatisfaction across the country, Obi is going to benefit from it.
Well, Obi has all the credentials to be a president, but the vehicle is what I'm not sure of. There has to be a deliberate policy, a deliberate intention for you to cultivate and sustain political structure across the country. I have run a party before called the National Democratic Party. We had offices in 34 states out of 36. We were rated third in the 2007 election. We fielded candidates in 2003 and General Ekewa was our presidential candidate in 2003. We were preaching the national leadership change. When the youths were coming, the first question they asked, they want to know who are the members of the party, who are the leaders. When they don't hear big names, they run back. Today, gradually things are changing. That's a development. That's a growth in our democratic evolution. Yeah. Now, talking about Obi and the movement, I didn't see the movement in Ekiti. Labour Party had a candidate. Ekiti election. They didn't come second. They didn't come third. They didn't come fourth. Where was that movement? When it comes to the day of election, all man go answer in Papa name. I want to go and vote in my polling unit in Ward 5, where I come from. There are people who have been sustaining, keeping their children in school and all of that. And I call, and I call the meeting and say it's Tinubu we are following. Then somebody comes from nowhere and says it's unfollowing Obi. We will go to the field. If you are strong enough, fine. But I can bet you, choices are informed by experiences and relationships of people. And when people keep talking about structure, is because you need people to be in House of Assembly. A man who is contesting for House of Assembly will be campaigning for himself because he wants to win.
In that party.
In that party.
And that gives.
And he gives an edge. So somebody who is just preaching Obi for presidency. He doesn't have a candidate for Senate. He doesn't have a candidate for House of Reps. He doesn't have a candidate for House of Assembly. So the gap is too much. Those local elections, House of Assembly, Senate, House of Reps, are those ones that closes the gap. And the people can relate, with the candidate. He will tell you, if you don't see Tinubu, hold me accountable, because I'm going to Reps. He will tell you, if you don't see Tinubu, hold me accountable, because I'm going to House of Assembly. So there are layers of holding people accountable. So the people at the local level, of course there's poverty everywhere, money will also always play a role. But I'm telling you that Obi's movement is good. Let it crystallize into a national movement for 2027. So for 2023, it is too close to power. Too close.
I need to find out from you. Are you not worried that Bola Tinubu will lose a lot of votes in the southeast? In the north, there's the Kwankwaso movement there too, the Kwankwasia movement. Are you not worried that these votes, then you go to south-south, they want to see how they can also support Anokoa, who is around there as the vice presidential candidate of the PDP, and all of these votes taken out of your APC.
You see, yes, I told someone in another platform that it's most likely we may have a runoff in 2023. You can't rule it out.
What are your analysis?
Because if a Kwankwaso is pulling through, and is able to take certain votes from, let's say, 5 states from the northwest and some other states, and certain persons are unable to score the statutory 25% votes, and Obi takes away southeast
and south-south.
No, southeast, south-south.
Okay.
Doesn't have that group.
Okay.
Then the likelihood of one candidate scoring to 25% to third of the states of the federation may be slim. If that happens, it can be a runoff. That's when trading off comes in. But again, we have seen scenarios where they say, oh, election will go to runoff, and they become landslide. Ekiti election was predicted to end in a runoff because Oni was a strong candidate, Oyebanji, strong candidate, Bisikola Ole, strong candidate. Then you have the APC candidate also, one party. It ended up to be a landslide. Oyebanji won 15 local governments out of 16. Oni was able to win one. Give the credit to INEC that election was too fair and credible. The only thing you can, as a minus, which is not a function of INEC, is vote buying, which is another problem within the political space. Now, if you look at the whole demographic, APC is very strong in the north. Every governor will want to produce a successor. If they want to produce a successor, they need a president. So they will work. for the president. PDP has 5 governors in the north. APC has about 14 or 15. That's a huge
gap.
Yeah. And whether you like it or not, because our politics has become heavily monetized, these persons are persons of influence. They will bring out resources to mobilize the electorate. And the electorate, because of what they have done to those people, we also want to show reciprocity.
Yeah.
So what comes into an election are in multiple folds. Several issues factorize all the processes leading to credible elections. And that could play its role. The Beavers is working well now. We hope it works well. So, Kwankoso has just spoken that if in the final he knows he cannot get it, he work for Tinubu. I read it. I read it on the list. That would be a good, that would be a good mileage for him, because he knows Tinubu very well. They are very close. That would be good. And those are the kind of alliances you need in politics, so you should be able to get results. Otherwise, moralists in politics, they always end up as good speech writers. Our democratic processes have been heavily polarized. The money bars call the shots. There's hunger in the land. And because of lack of performance of most of our electoral representatives, leaders, and all of that, people take the little that come to them during elections. They serve their conscience.
2 questions before we go. 2 questions before we go. What are those major things? Just name 5 you think a Bola Tinubu presidency will want to immediately address. Critical issues affecting the country. There are issues of nepotism. There are issues of...
A Bola Tinubu will be a nationalist when he becomes president. I see that in him. Because he has friends cut across the country. He attends naming ceremonies. He attends wedding ceremonies. He attends traditional title ceremonies.
You can't do that as a president.
No, I'm telling you now. These are the platforms we use to create friendship. We used to build friendship across the country. So, that means if you mention your state Jigawa, you have at least 10 people he knows. Out of those 10, you say this one can perform this function, this one can do this. If you say you are from Kassim, he knows who to meet. If you say you are from Bayelsa, he knows who to meet. So once a leader has that kind of national outlook, getting the right people to take over responsibilities that will impact on the well-being of the country becomes very easy. Now, monitoring for them to deliver now comes in. That's where he had to weigh his influence on them. The present system is that of delegation. President Buhari hardly sack anybody. I expect by now Kuje prison attack. I expect has to have role. But they submitted a report to him. Nobody heard anything about it.
Fuel adulteration.
Yes, fuel adulteration, imported fuel. Nobody is talking. No heads are rolling.
Kaduna training attack.
No heads are rolling. So that is the peculiar style of a President Buhari that has brought us to what we need. So we need an interactive president. A president that is conversational. A president that is not afraid to sit on the table and discuss with people. And because you are a government, you have access to information more than the ordinary man out there. What is wrong with you in sitting down with the IPOB? Let us sit down and talk. This is our country. Do you want to break this country? These are the issues. These are the issues. Let me hear you. Why are you so angry? Why are you so vexed about the country? By the time, like in the process of mediation, you go through the issues, you'll be knocking them out one after the other. When contradiction cancels contradiction, a new life is born. Kanu may be shocked. You can use Kanu to rally around a whole lot of people as a government. When he sees sincerity in what you are trying to do. But it's only when you pretend and later you renege on promises and assertions and conclusions that the problem of trust will now snowball into another crisis. What is wrong with sitting down with the old People's Congress or whatever they call themselves I said, come, this is our country. If bandits want to discuss, call them on the table. Let's discuss with them. Because the people need to live happily. They don't need to live in fear of being killed, being kidnapped, and all of that. What is it that you people want? I'm going to give you a window. From now to 6 months' time, we want to put up a process of interacting and conversing with you people. If our communication breaks down, then government will act as government.
Yes.
That is what a government should be.
Yeah.
That is what we call leadership. But when you try issuing the same statement today, tomorrow, we now have a template for issuing statements of killings and all of that. John Mayaki, you can't make headway.
Apart from insecurity.
You see, let me tell you what gave birth to amnesty. Under Yaradua, the government carried out an onslaught in the creeks. Yeah. Yeah. Bombarded all the camps of the militants. Killed some people. Some people were amputated. Some people legs chopped off. Then the government came to their representatives. Are you ready for dialogue? They said they are ready. They sat at the round table. That's how the Kubos and others were pulled out of the prison. They discussed. There was what gave battle amnesty. And there was relative peace in Niger Delta. Oil production became stable. Did you enjoy it? That's leadership. So, if people keep doing things and they are gaining more and more strength and becoming more audacious, it's like poking fingers in your eyes and saying, what the heck can you do? You have to tell them that you are a government. Yes. If you are chief of army stars or the military service chiefs and they are not performing their responsibility, you fire them. Heavens will not fall. If corruption is the name of the game, hit the corruption. Hit it on the head. If soldiers are not getting their allowances as at when due, ask questions. Who is involved? Fire the person. The next man will sit up. They say monopolies plus discretion and accountability. That's the definition of corruption. Yeah. So you have those who think they have monopoly powers in the military, in the police, and all that. If they are not playing water, they are abusing their discretionary powers. Then you show them the exit door. Something will give, something good will come. Yeah. So, a Tinubu who is very bold, he fought the military to stand still. He went on exile, started radio Kudirat and what have you, disturbing the military, raided them out of the scene of events, came back, contested for governor, became governor, and also put up structures and carried on his people along. All the violence of this one and all that, they were part of the Nadeko struggle.
Lastly, people say times have changed, that Tinubu achieved all of this then. Times have changed.
What has changed in the time?
People say, does he have the capacity, the health, people say,
I met Tinubu one-on-one and I asked him questions about his health. Okay. And that was the first thing I asked him. Are you strong enough to be president of this country? Yeah. He said, yes. He's not diabetic. He doesn't have BP. So what are you talking about? He had kneecap problem, which he went to replace. And within 3 months, the guy was okay. He was working. Other persons will not do if you have diabetes. If you are diabetic, you can't do surgery and you get killed almost immediately. Yeah. The man, for 7 days, was traveling around this country, meeting people. For 7 days non-stop. I had to personally call him to say, slow down. Just like Kokoso told him that you should slow down and take care of his health. The man is strong. But of course, a man of his age, 70, you don't expect him to be like me, jumping about. I'm 50-something. So, like he said, he's not going to be a grave digger.
No.
As a president, you use your intellect, you use your brain, you use your political will. Once you assemble a strong team that are ready to deliver on the job, you are put square peg in square hole, you are good to go. All you need is supervision. You keep man hours. The present leader, even as we speak now, hardly sleep 2 hours a day. That's the truth. 3 a.m. you go to his house, you still see crowd. 4 a.m. you still see crowd. It's only in this current presidency that 11 o'clock the man is sleeping. A country like Nigeria, you can't have a president who is sleeping at normal hours. No, it's not possible. Nigeria should grow at night. India economy is growing at night. There are too many holidays, public holidays in this country. Yeah. Because we are poor, we need to talk to ourselves. We need to wake up.
Yeah.
We need to wake up.
Yeah.
We like celebrations. We need to cut down on that.
Yeah.
Individuals are rich, the country is poor. Why is it so? You need to redirect, our thinking, our mentality. We celebrate riches everywhere. That shouldn't be. There has to be a deliberate attitudinal change. And once you have a leadership that is ready to confront all these issues without damning the consequences, without minding whose horse is gone, my brother, Nigeria will come out stronger. Tony Yaradua, for just 3 years, there was sanity in the judiciary.
Yeah.
If there's a court verdict, you don't hear of those nebulous stay of execution. What's the meaning of that? Under Yaradua, you must implement. If there's a court verdict, go and implement it. What is the meaning of stay of execution? I was hearing another stay of execution process has just started.
Over what?
They were saying when you get judgment, they will go and apply for stay of execution.
Yeah.
What's the meaning of that? If you get judgment, you apply it. You should build this country on rule of law, and everybody, follows that pattern. The poor man is assured that when a verdict is given against a poor man, a rich man, that verdict will come to him. People will behave. In Nigeria, a lot of people look up to the leader, and once they head this rotting, just like fish, every other part is affected.
I will ask you this last one before we go. That how do you let us assume that some persons are offended? The Christian community is offended. Let's assume they are offended. Do you think
government is a big institution?
Yeah. Do you think we can get? We have the executive, the presidency, we have the judiciary, and we have the legislature. Yeah. What do you think can be done to assuage their feelings?
There is no feeling that is to be assuaged.
To carry them along.
John, everybody is being carried along. I told you, we just dig into all these things.
Will it then be fair to say the president should be a Muslim, the VP should be a Muslim, the head of the judiciary should be a Muslim, the head of the legislature should be a Muslim?
They are religious.
What about that?
Wait now.
Because they are competent.
No.
Let's assume because they are competent.
No. Yeah. Their religion does not dictate their performance.
Can we go ahead and make all of them Muslims in Nigeria?
Wait. Their religion,
yes,
whether Christian, whether Muslim, whether traditionalist, does not dictate their capacity to perform.
I agree with you.
That is one.
Yes.
2, that you are a Muslim, all Muslims in your home as a family does not make you a good husband.
Yes.
There are morose husbands, there are flats, there are manners of things. There are marriages that cannot survive on the basis of that. That you are a Christian does not mean that your home will be free of trouble. We should reduce our primacy to look at all of issue of faith, because it has to do with you. But we should look at existential problem. If prayers were to solve Nigerian problem, we don't need government. The number of churches and mosques in Nigeria. There's a street that I went through in Benin. About 16 churches were in that street. If there's unity, why wouldn't those 16 come together as Christian faith, or another street where we have 4 or 5 mosques and each one has its own sect? Why would they come together? So we have our peculiar problems as Nigerians. Let us leave that. Are we able to use religion to solve insecurity?
No.
Are we able to use religion to solve poverty?
No.
Are we able to use it to stop kidnappers from kidnapping our people? We need solutions to our problems. The least of my worry is who you are in terms of your religion or your faith. That's for me. So the elite should stop playing up all these sentiments. The common one that is poor, begging alms from both Christians and Muslims. When you are driving, they don't ask you which religion you are before they ask you for alms. Did they ask you?
No.
You are sick, you are being rushed to the hospital. Do you ask the religion of the doctor? No. Why do you play some of these sentiments? These are political sentiments that want to advance us anywhere. Countries that don't even pray, they are doing better than us. They have stronger currency. We are sitting down here, dollar is 615, and we are clapping for ourselves. What madness is that? Pastors are flying private jets. Their masses they can't eat 3 square meals a day. Is that what you tell me? Is that how you want to convince me about being a religious person? What gives you the impression that jet cannot be sold and you take about 1,000 people out of poverty? Right, yeah. The money we use in buying jet can take away 3,000 people out of poverty. You will have added value to society. Can't you let me take commercial flights? What is the big deal about you? So what are we talking about? It is just to reorder our values. Our value system has collapsed. Joe.
Yeah.
The morals are no longer there.
Yeah.
Our crave for crass materialism is the order of the day. You hear Yahoo boys here, you hear this one there. Everybody wants to get rich quick. It is like a jungle, survival of the fittest. So there's a whole lot. I don't envy anybody who is taking over from President Buhari.
That is it.
I don't envy anybody. Because nobody will have the magic wand to turn Nigeria around all of a sudden. But you can start by building templates. You need to build, layers of how to intervene and ensure that you are able to provide tested solutions to our problems.
Wow, thank you so very much, Prince Kassim Afegbua, a partyless man, so to say now. Yes, I sincerely want to appreciate your time. We'll have a lot of discussions as we go on in the political electioneering period. Yeah. I want to appreciate you once more. For those of you watching us on the John Mayaki Show, we appreciate you. I'd say bye for now and keep safe, keep being a good citizen. Bye for now.